We can't really see our RPMs, but you guys can probably hear them. So 3, 2, 1. The gear down a little bit more and you're now in sport mode, but step on it. Nicer, it works way better. And again, the engine hasn't changed much. The thing they've changed, especially with the transmission, is that we don't have our 6-speed manual transmissions anymore. It's with a Toyota Camry, and honestly this one is the better looking of the two. And if you come all the way down here, squint your eyes hard enough, this may look like an A5 or an A6, and this thing looks really good. It looks more Audi than Volkswagen. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I got the key to a 2025 Volkswagen Jetta, the 7th generation of this vehicle. And ladies and gentlemen, some quick specs. This is going to be powered by a 1.5 liter inline-4 turbocharged naturally with 158 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. And this thing looks really good. It looks more Audi than Volkswagen, not gonna lie. Like, this thing, they've changed it quite a bit. As you can see, not only the exterior but the interior has been changed up quite a bit. This is what our key looks like. It looks similar to the previous generation of Volkswagens, but if you come to the front, you can see that they frowned the brow a little bit more. It looks a little bit more aggressive. It looks sporty. And if you squint hard enough, it might look a little bit more Audi, but that's mostly at the back. And we have beautiful LED lights. And if you do a quick remote start, power up the little 1.5, it's very efficient on gas, and it's honestly gonna become one of my favorite Volkswagens. Again, we're at generation number 7. This one only comes front wheel drive. There's no manual transmission, and it is only like what, $26,000 roughly USD. I'm not sure Canadian, we'll have to do the conversions later, but as you can see, the front end looks way more aggressive. And you know what, it looks really good. And if you come over to your side profile over here, you can just see, oof, almost killed myself over there, but anyway, you can see that this thing is like a full-size sedan, competes with a Toyota Camry, and honestly this one is the better looking of the two. And if you come all the way down here, squint your eyes hard enough, this may look like an A5 or an A6. Now as you can see, we don't see any of our exhaust tips. They're all underneath the vehicle right now. But if you hop into the interior, backup camera, and a ton of space, and you can fold the seats down if need be, right? Hopping in, perforated leather that is really soft touch and very comfy in this thing. The insulation in here is also pretty good. Now since this is the base model, we have no vents, we have nothing fancy going on in the back seat except for our aluminum trim and window controls. And again, no sunroof, which is fair. It is a base model, but honestly, it's really nice. Foot on the brake. Very nice. As you can see, everything, they are normal buttons for our climate controls, which kind of suck because a slight little brush doesn't really do it justice half the time. I like that the steering wheel still has physical buttons, so that's a huge plus. But another benefit is that even if you're on the passenger side, you don't have to look at a big little chunk of plastic all day long. You have these strips which look kind of fancy, and you see so a little bit of Alcantara. They've really improved the interior quite a bit. Our fully digital gauge cluster right here, and our radio station, well, our infotainment system, which is a good 6 inches right there. And if we go down here, we're gonna go into our apps. We have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and the response time is actually pretty good, very responsive, pretty touchy as well. 8-speed automatic transmission with our wireless charging down here, and our 2 Type-C ports over here. Some storage here, some storage back here. And honestly, this one, surprisingly, if you think this car handles pretty well, you should know that this car also shares the same platform as the GLI Jetta. So yeah, it can be sporty if it needs to be, but some would say it has sluggish acceleration per se, but to me it's honestly not bad. The way it looks, I really like the new refresh of what they've done to this car. It's nicer, it works way better, And again, the engine hasn't changed much. The thing they've changed, especially with the transmission, is that we don't have our 6-speed manual transmissions anymore. This car never came in all-wheel drive, so we're not really missing out too much on that. And since, in case you guys are wondering, we do have a little sport mode. The sport mode is still the same, where you just shift the gear down a little bit more and you're now in sport mode. But step on it. Not bad. It's actually not too bad. But while you're going to regular driving mode, our completely digital gauge cluster is actually pretty nice to look at. But if you really want to customize it, you can. It's similar. It has a similar gauge cluster to the Volkswagen Taos. Like, they are literally the same. They literally just took the one out of the Taos and put it in here, and it also works out pretty well. We're gonna change up our climate controls a little bit so that my windows don't fog up too much. There we go. But overall, it's really not a bad car. And fuel efficiency, for those wondering, my current average right now, we're averaging 10.6 because, again, I do be moving kind of quick in all of these cars. Another thing that you'll notice about this one is that our screen over here has been improved quite a bit. It's bigger, it responds way quicker, as said before. And you can also notice that where you can see where the screen starts and where the screen ends. This is all gloss plastic, and then right over after that is going to be our screen, basically. And the suspension is smooth, and the way this thing glides is not bad. Like, comparing it to the Camry, this one definitely rides smoother than the Camry. I'm gonna defog my windows because it's going crazy. There we go. It definitely rides smoother than the Camry. But where the Camry outshines this one at least, is always going to be on reliability, because everyone talks about that Toyota reliability that no other car manufacturer can really replicate. So essentially, Toyota always has the bag when it comes to the reliability. But again, you guys know this stretch of road. We're gonna do a quick 0 to 60 when everybody gets off. So brake. We can't really see our RPMs, but you guys can probably hear them. So 3, 2, 1. Well, not a real 0 to 60, but a good enough indicator of how quickly this thing gets to 60. Takes it a hot second. The acceleration may feel a little bit sluggish, but to be honest, for the regular person, for the regular human being, this is capable enough as it is. You really don't need anything more than that, to be honest. And do we have blind spot monitoring, you ask? Yes, we do. We have adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist. So if you're on the highway with a car like this, literally get to 60, put on your cruise control, and the car will literally just drive endlessly as long as there's gas in the tank. And overall, it's really not a bad vehicle. And if we need to brake hard, pretty decent. Not bad at all. Overall, it's very good for the price range. Like, we get so much extra for the price range. Our infotainment system has been upgraded. The gauge cluster and everything around it has been upgraded. The front grille and the back grille literally looks like an Audi at this point. And all this, you would expect a huge price change, where they're like, you know what, for all this extra stuff, we're gonna charge you up to $50,000 or something. But no, it's still very similar and comparable to the previous generations of the Jettas. And if you want to go a little bit bigger and you want to be a little bit nicer, you can go for the Passats, which I am actually interested to see what the 2025 Passats are going to look like, because if a Jetta looks this nice, imagine the Passat. The Passat will look way nicer. And honestly, I am actually interested to see how Volkswagen is improving. Like, again, the engine hasn't changed too much. A little tweaks here and there for better performance, X, Y, and Z, like every other manufacturer does. But like, as in this period where every other manufacturer is somewhat struggling, Volkswagen is just doing its own thing. They're not really struggling that much. We recently got news that Nissan is having a hard time. It has fallen into some difficulties, Nissan and Infiniti. And to see Volkswagen just be like, nah, those problems don't apply to us, we're just gonna keep improving and keep doing more stuff, because why not? And if you're wondering how this thing is at highway speed, it's really, really well insulated. Again, it's a German car. These cars go on the Autobahn on a daily basis, and sometimes you need to be moving kind of quick on the Autobahn. And for regular us North American driving, it's not bad. The real question is, can it survive a North American winter is the real question. But let's quickly try out our cruise control, our adaptive cruise control as well. So we're gonna get that activated and put that set, and we're gonna increase our range to the max so it sees everything in front of us. Our lane keep assist is on and rolling, so let's see how she slows down. 58, 57, 52. Oh, I remember one time I used the adaptive cruise controller in a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and that thing almost made me rear end somebody. Maybe it was driver or user error where I messed up and didn't turn it on properly, but that kind of scared me just a little bit. It was literally on the exact same road as well, but this one is so smooth and pretty easy to use. If you want to adapt or change up or completely switch off your adaptive cruise control, you can press this little button on your indicators and just scroll through. We can turn on blind spot monitoring, rear traffic assist, front traffic assist. Like, this thing, although not Volvo levels of safety, is also pretty safe. And another thing I've noticed some of you guys may have asked me is to start ranking these cars. To me, I should really start doing that. I will need to start making a spreadsheet and documenting every little detail about these cars. But right now, I'm giving Volkswagen, this new refreshed model, a 7 out of 10. 7 to 8 out of 10. And if I really want to get my final thoughts on this one, I'd have to review the next year, the 2026 model, where they fully refine everything, because this is the fresh new refresh, right? So after this new refresh and the next year after this refresh, essentially, would have a much more grounded basis for this car. But anyway, guys, this has been Morty in the 2025 Volkswagen Jetta. Honestly, pretty much a budget Audi at the end of the day. It looks more Audi than Volkswagen, and I rock with it. I love it. Take care, guys, and peace.